and you have a democracy movement that could be quashed by Soviet security forces. And so one of the things that the administration is intent on doing is initially testing the sincerity of Gorbachev's perestroika and new thinking in foreign policy. And so you get a pause. You get a time in the very early portion of the administration where they are not going to put the foot on the gas to move this relationship forward. Rather, they're going to pump the brakes. And the second thing that they're intent on doing is making sure that, do you remember Gorby mania? Gorby mania is not good for the United States. It's not good for the President of the United States, because that means that the President of the United States is not driving the international agenda. It's the General Secretary of the Soviet Union. The pause, the break, the pumping of the brakes is all about ensuring that the end of the Cold War, however that process unfolds, however the process is managed, it's managed by the United States or with the United States input significantly. And this leads us then, of course, to Eastern Europe. And it's interesting because Scowcroft says later in that very same oral history interview that we are going to focus on states, we are going to provide aid to those states in Eastern Europe that aren't just reforming economically. That's great. But what we're looking for is political liberalization. If you remember how Nicolae Ceausescu ultimately went out, it wasn't by virtue of a meaningful political reform movement. But you did see that in Poland. You saw that in other states. And so when Scowcroft says we're going to move them to the top of the list, he's ultimately trying to do two things. Number one, he wants to see actual reforms in those states, movement toward democracy, but he's also trying to test Gorbachev's sincerity. If we push in this way, are you going to respond negatively? Do you have the political power at home to withstand hardline forces that are going to try to obstruct this movement? But the problem is, as Scowcroft says later on in the oral history, we didn't have any money. It was the worst time in the world to have the policy that we had. I'm pretty sure that's a direct quote from that oral history. And so there was a scrambling effort to find as much money as we could possibly find for foreign aid.